Hello, Bronies and Pegasisters, and 'tis the holiday season indeed. Happy Hearths warming Eve. And what better episode to review at this time of year than Hearths warming Eve? Now, if you've seen my ranking of the MLP writers, you would know that one of my least favorite writers was Meriwether Williams. And to be fair, my opinion on her really has not changed at all. And in many respects, a lot of her episodes that were bad really just seemed worse to me because of the bad taste in my mouth that was left after Mysterious Ne'er-Do-Well. And everyone who's seen that episode has made the same exact points. The plot was cliche and predictable as hell. Rainbow Dash was at her absolute worst, and all of the characters only made wrong decisions. But enough of that. Let's go to Hearths Warming Eve. Now, when I saw that episode was also written by Meriwether Williams back in Season 2, I was dreading this episode, mainly because after the sheer torture that was Ne'er-Do-Well, I had very little hopes for this one. Shockingly, though, Hearths Warming Eve more than made up for Mysterious Ne'er-Do-Well sucking. How so? Well, I'll get into the story. It's Hearths Warming Eve, Ponyville's equivalent of Christmas in many respects, and the main 6 ponies all travel to Canterlot in order to put on a play that shows the origins of Hearths Warming Eve and one of the earliest stories of Equestria, apparently before the time of Celestia and Luna. Where it turns out 3 tribes, one of Earth ponies, one made of Pegasi, and one made of unicorns, were at a hateful feud with each other during a blizzard, where the Earth ponies had to supply food for the Pegasi and the unicorns, which would allow the Pegasi to control the weather, and the unicorns to magically to raise the sun, raise and lower the sun, and raise and lower the moon. However, once the blizzard gets tougher, the leaders of these 3 tribes, the snooty Princess Platinum, played by Rarity, the gruff and tough brute, Commander Hurricane, played by Rainbow Dash, and the scatterbrained numbskull, Chancellor Puddinghead, played by Pinkie Pie, all have to set out for a new land, along with their helpful assistants. The intelligent Clover the Clever, played by Twilight Sparkle, the cynical Secretary Smart Cookie, played by Applejack, and the cowardly Private Pansy, played by Fluttershy. How fitting. However, once these ponies find their new home, which would later be known as Equestria, they still can't stop fighting each other, and the blizzard happens to envelop that land, and even a cave that they happen to settle in, eventually freezing the leaders in ice. So what caused this blizzard? Well, a bunch of spirits named Wendigos, of course, as the Wendigos feed off of fear and hatred. Well, not really fear, but they feed off of hatred for other ponies. And because of that, the Wendigos make everything around them as cold as the hearts of the ponies that fuel them. Which causes Clover the Clever, Smart Cookie, and Private Pansy to start liking each other and to start creating a friendship that goes against the prejudices that all 3 leaders had towards the other tribes, which quite literally causes Clover the Clever to burn the Wendigos with a fire of friendship. And after the play is over, we hear a truly excellent musical number known as the Heart Carol. Now, the things that I really liked about this episode were the aesthetics. I like the fact that, much like the Avatar episode, The Ember Island Players, this whole episode has a lot of things that make fun of tropes in theater, making fun of Broadway tropes, theatrical tropes, and even our main character's own character tropes, as a lot of the characters end up like exaggerated versions of themselves. Pinkie Pie, for example, is even more scatterbrained than ever when playing her character. Rarity is a lot snootier and a lot more snobbish, and Rainbow Dash is even more aggressive and even more threatening. And And in many respects, I haven't seen a Christmas special go into the origins of a holiday that's similar to Christmas like this before, at least not in this clever of a way. I know a lot of Bronies and Pegasisters didn't like this episode because they weren't able to understand that if the play was actually a flashback scene, or if that was just the ponies acting it out and we just went into a flashback to enhance the experience. But personally, I saw it as the ponies just acting it out with a play, and the flashbacks just being there to amplify the experience for the audience. At least that's what I saw. Not to mention, am I the only person who likes the Heart Carol? I understand some people thought it was overly preachy with its message, but then again, Princess Twilight Sparkle was just as preachy, and people seem to like that. But I personally really, really love it. In fact, I might end this review by singing it. I like it so much. It sounds a little holy-ish for people who aren't, say, Christian, but to me, I think it still worked. Not to mention, I really loved the references that they made during this episode. For example, when Spike's overstaying his welcome with one of his jokes, instead of spectacular, it was snow-tacular. Instead of brilliant, it was blizzardly. And then it was, and as soon as he says that, another pony says, "We get it! Move on!" It reminded me of Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Get on with it! Yes, get on with it! Yes, get on with it! It makes me wonder if Meriwether Williams saw that and got inspired. So, not to mention, Meriwether Williams really made up for her writing, because beforehand I mainly knew Meriwether Williams for her roles in writing SpongeBob SquarePants, the earlier seasons of SpongeBob, not the terrible newer ones. Specifically, one of my favorite SpongeBob episodes ever, Band Geeks. And in many respects, this episode does feel like a return to form for her. A return to form that would be made even stronger with Wonderbolt Academy. By the way, if you want me to review that episode, I suppose I can do that. But the real reason I love this episode is because it made up for the main problem that I had with Mysterious Ne'er-Do-Well. The fact that this episode felt heartwarming. The series is made on heartwarming moments with friends. And Mysterious Ne'er-Do-Well went completely against the messages that My Little Pony was going for. The fact that it was so mean-spirited, so out of left field, and so unnecessary to the point where it was difficult to watch. That's why Hearthswarming Eve really saved Meriwether as a writer to me. And she realized her mistakes and made something that could be considered not perfect, but still decent enough to make up for her mistakes. And that's actually kind of admirable. So with good writing, an excellent way to incorporate theater and TV into a single medium, and some funny moments with with a bunch of the characters, especially Pinkie Pie's always humorous moments, this time as Chancellor Puddinghead. I am just about to be brilliant! Including others. I give this episode a 9 out of 10. And to close this review off, I believe I shall do the Heart Carol. The fire of friendship lives in our hearts. As long as it burns, we will not drift apart. Though quarrels arise, their numbers are few. Laughter and singing will see us through, will see us through. We are a circle of pony friends, a circle of friends will be to the very end. See you later.